Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's disappointing that the next speaker can't be here this afternoon, but apparently had a dodgy sausage last night, so that's him out of it. Serves him right. Talking about eating more meat in our diets, I couldn't actually manage lunch today. I was too nervous to have lunch, but I had all on eating 3 pieces of that delicious pudding, to be honest. So anyway, okay, I'm going to talk for just 15 minutes, if not shorter than that. I'm not going to kill you with PowerPoint because you've probably sat there through several hours of it. I've got about 4 PowerPoint slides, and I'm more than happy to take questions at the end. I'm sorry, I do wave my hands around a lot, so you'll have to excuse that. And if I do catch this television and knock it over, that's their fault for putting it there, to be honest. The caterers amongst us are under the cosh again. There's never been a harder time to be a caterer. With a soft belly like FM and other support services of many organisations, and the cuts that have been announced over the last few weeks are only going to make it worse. I came into the industry in 1978, just as Maggie Thatcher was starting to take the knife to many of the public sectors and to put private sector in, to put private companies in and change hospital catering, food catering. And I know many of us might think we're still recovering from that, but it's just got a whole lot harder. And while I work in the university and some of the issues I talk about will be around universities today, they apply to many sectors and many people, most people within the cost sector. And this title today of maintaining standards is going to be harder than ever moving forward. Now, I had a strange irony last week where I was at one meeting in the morning that was looking at the student experience and how when students come to university and pay £9,000 a year, we can offer value for money, good service and all those things. And then my next meeting was about how we might take 30% of our staff out from the frontline services. The two just don't go together. And some of the issues that we're talking about today, while very interesting, just create more and more pressures on catering managers, and to the point where if we could manage the miracle of the 5 loaves and 3 fishes, we'd all be a lot better off. But I'm afraid I haven't mastered it yet. I don't know about anybody else, and if you have, then please let me know. And added to that now, we're going to have to get our fish from sustainable source. It's just got a whole lot harder. 2 years ago, we started merger talks between 2 procurement organisations within the sector. Tuco organisation had a range of purchasing contracts to the value of around £40 million. And we started merger talks with a company called Snoopy, who had a similar amount of contracts. The problem we had was the duplication of the type of commodities we were both supplying to members. And we got together to try and merge the 2 organisations, and we finally succeeded in doing that in April this year. And believe you me, that was a major achievement, and I'm not just saying that because I was in the middle of it. Procurement within the sector is notoriously, people in procurement in the sector are notoriously protective of the areas they manage. Their contracts are reliant on, the contracts they deal with are reliant on keeping the people in that organisation employed. And only by moving forward and talking around how more collaborative procurement can happen will we truly make large savings for the end users and for our customers. But I'm going to come on to that in a bit more detail. Just to give you an idea, this is what Tuco delivers. A range of national contracts across 8 regions. It's a national organisation, and that in itself creates a whole range of problems from the north of Scotland right down to Penzance. We've got members, and it's okay putting national procurement, national contracts in to deal through large suppliers, but trying to provide contracts through low-use, small, local suppliers is extremely difficult because a lot of local suppliers, local farmers, we heard from some a few minutes ago, aren't necessarily in a position to deliver national. So it's around offering a range of framework agreements that people can buy into that offer choice within a region or within an area. So not only are we working with the multinationals, but we're also working with, or trying to work more and more with small local suppliers. We've got 160 universities and colleges that are members. We've also got 130 associate members, and we're still recruiting. We're trying to expand the business because the more members we get, the more money goes into the pot when we go out to tender to say this is how much we're spending on a commodity. And that's driving the price down, hopefully, and the quality of the service we're getting from suppliers. So it's extremely important. We also provide research through our website, and a piece of research we did a couple of years ago, which we intend to repeat next year, called Framing the Future. A lot of people talk around what students want at the moment, and if anybody knows, they could tell me afterwards on the way out, because I don't half of the time. But what the average 16 to 18-year-old wants when they come to university is extremely difficult to understand, and trying to understand that is what we're about. So members are in a position and they've got that information moving forward. Also, several people have mentioned training today. Many organisations slash a training budget the minute we go into a recession. It's actually what we should be doing is applying more money into training, because the skills and expertise of the staff that we've got are there to deliver the services and deliver them in a more professional way. And instead of shrinking the training budget, my view is that we should be actually expanding them. We also offer a range of chefs competitions and other training events nationally, and that's around driving standards up in the sector of production and food service. So what are the main challenges facing the universities and, in fact, the public sector? Because the same, Chris Smith, the head of UK, is a vice-chancellor, a very important guy, works down at the University of Exeter, suggested on the BBC that £4 billion is going to be taken out of the university sector from a budget of 4.7 billion. That's around 79%. We don't exactly know what the full impact of that is yet, but on the other hand, you'll have seen the demonstrations in town last week, around the increased tuition fees. So universities are going to be able to charge more money, up to £9,000 a year. And as somebody that's got a 17-year-old son at the moment, thank you very much, but that's inevitably what's going to happen. It's still going to be fit at the point of entry, but the demands of students attending universities and colleges are going to be so much greater. We saw a massive increase in people's expectations a few years ago when the tuition fees went up to £3,000, putting them up to a possible £9,000 a year, although not all universities will charge that, is going to have a further massive impact. Student expectations, they're already here, they're going to go a bit higher. Saw an article the other day in a magazine. A graduate takes a university to the High Court. This is a student at Belfast, Queen's University, Belfast. There's nobody here from there, is there? Have to be careful what you say. Is challenging his final degree award by taking the university to the High Court. Andrew Croxley from County Down, Northern Ireland, is fighting to overturn a 2-2 in electronic engineering received from Queen's this year, claiming that if he'd received better supervision from the university, he could have had a 2-1. I don't know if he's won his case yet, but just shows you the expectations of people in universities now. That's not obviously catering, but you can see what people are now looking, they're paying a lot of money, and their expectations are going up and up and up. And catering as a frontline service is right slap bang in the middle of that. We're going to see an increase in overseas students. People say, well, that's good because they pay top whack, they pay the full amount. They've already paid more than £9,000 for a long time. But having more overseas students on campus can create caterers a lot of problems. We've got a lot of students from the Indian subcontinent, and in the Indian subcontinent they live on pennies a day. So coming to the UK economy, where our cheapest dish is perhaps £1.98 or £2, it's extremely expensive. Meeting their expectations is very difficult. Value for money. Has anybody fully understood what value for money is yet? It's going to be on my headstone when I've gone, because I've never understood it, and if I do, it's what's going to kill me, I think. Value for money is obviously up to the individual, the perception of what they're getting for what they're going to pay. The perception is, but a lot of students and a lot of people that use our services, that it should be cheaper. And that it's already subsidised, and indeed it's not in most universities. In fact, most university caterers make a contribution to the running of the catering facilities, and that's ploughed back into the university to reinvest in books and libraries and other things. And then the main and probably the biggest challenge facing caterers, and we've talked to quite a lot of them today, is around ethical issues, carbon trading and things like that. Is there any carbon consultants in today? And they're all very busy at the moment, aren't they? That's a great career. When you know, 25 years ago when I was looking for career options, that just wasn't available, was it? I would have done it. If it was available, I would have done it.